In this video, I'm going to talk about the 7 micro behaviors that can bring back love into your marriage. Probably you're living in the same house and you want to have more love. Probably you're separated and you want your wife to fall in love with you. Probably you're going through a divorce process. Um, your wife has put false allegations, or you're already divorced. Doesn't matter. There are 7 micro behaviors. If you put them into action, the wife will fall in love with you. Continue to watch this video to find out. Hi, Coach Val here. I help men to create the marriage of their dreams. So let us jump into this video and let us understand the 7 micro behaviors that will turn your marriage around and bring loads of love. Because marriage is not made of stories like this is what happened, then this is what happened, the problem in my marriage. No, marriage is made of behaviors. And these are micro behaviors, tiny things. They happen in fraction of a second. And if you don't catch them and if you don't follow them, if you don't do them, the love dies. But if you follow them, you have loads of love and laughter. So let us jump into the mind map and let us understand what these behaviors are. And before I go into these 7 behaviors, the first thing that I want to talk about is these 7 behaviors will not bring back love until and unless you rewire the way you're thinking. In other words, you get out of the victim mindset. So what is the victim mindset? There are other videos where I've gone into in depth into explaining what victim mindset is, but here I'll just give you a glimpse. Everybody starts their marriage with romance stage, and then whether you any permutation combination you check, you get out of the romance stage and get into power struggle stage. And if you want to know more about power struggle stage and what happens after the power struggle stage, I invite you to attend my free live masterclass. The link is on the screen itself. I put the link in the description. It is coachval.co. Go there and sign up for the masterclass where I'm going to teach you in depth about power struggle. Right now, let me explain what happens very quickly. What happens in a power struggle? In power struggle, I feel like a victim, just the way you see it here. And from my perception, my wife and her parents look like persecutors. And then I look for rescuers. What happens to my wife? My wife feels like a victim. She she looks at me and my parents as persecutors, and she looks for rescuers. And we go round and round and round. Now the goal is you got to get out of the victim mindset. And there's a particular video that I've created called "Save Your Marriage" by changing your mindset. Watch that video where I go in depth in helping you understand what victim mindset is. So now let us go down and look at those 7 behaviors. So as I'm going to talk about these 7 behaviors, I assume that you're out of the victim mindset. If you're not, then these 7 micro behaviors will not bring any love. They will not bring any connection. So the first micro behavior is called bidding for connection and responding to bids. And this is really important to create connection. So what is bidding for connection? Bidding for connection is every animal, especially I've seen it with dogs, I've seen it with cats, and obviously with human beings, is every now and then we want to check whether we are in connection with the other person or not. So like for example, in your house, the dog will come and stand beside you, nudge you and rub you. And that is called bidding for connection. There is no purpose for it. There is no reason for it. And when you put your hand on its back and you rub it, it is called turning towards. You turn towards the dog, and the dog feels calm and relaxed. He feels that, okay, my owner is with me. He's going to support me. All that happens to the dog, and the dog moves on with its work. So this is called bidding for connection, and you turning towards. There are 2 other behaviors that you can get into. I'll talk about the dog first, and then I'll talk about in our relationship. The 2 other behaviors are you push the dog away and you say, "What the hell is wrong with you?" and you shout at the dog. That is called turning against. And the third one is turning away. That means the dog is nudging you and you do nothing. Do nothing. It simply means this is your wife is bidding for connection. Here I'm talking about the dog. So wife, dog, the other person is bidding for connection, and me turning towards, turning away, and turning against. All right. The same applies in the relationship, in our marriage. My wife gets up in the morning and she says, "Oh God, I'm so tired. I'm still feeling sleepy." She's bidding for connection. She says, she comes from work and she says, "Oh God, I got such a bad headache." Bidding for connection. She says, check, check, check. Amazon में ये वाला बहुत सस्ते में मिल रहा है. Bidding for connection. पता नहीं यार, कल तो प्रेजेंटेशन है, मुझे प्रेजेंटेशन देना है, पता नहीं मैं क्या करूं. Bidding for connection. So everything where you feel that your wife is saying something, asking something, in many of the cases, which is not logistic, it is bidding for connection. Like, I'll give you some more examples, and it happens at a microsecond. She says, "Wow, that's beautiful. Looking at this particular bird," bidding for connection. And when that happens, how you respond to them matters a lot. You can turn towards and say, when she says, "Oh God, I got a headache," you can tell her, "Oh, what happened? You must have had a bad day." Turning towards. Turning away is, you're still busy on the phone. You say, that is turning away. Turning against is, how many times have I told you not to go out in the rain? How many times have I told you that do this? How many times? That is turning against. So you have a choice. Every time your wife is bidding for connection, you can turn towards, turn away, or turn against. And if you have been giving advice is one of the things about turning against. So if you have been doing turning away and turning against, your wife would have stopped bidding for connection. So in order to start it, you got to start bidding for connection. You start bidding for connection. You ask her, you suggest her, and what she's going to do is she's going to turn away or turn against if your marriage is not going great. But when you consistently do that, he'll slowly start turning towards you, and slowly she'll also do the same. From the time we get up, Pallavi and I get up, to the time she goes to work, and I analyze the morning, I see so many moments of she bidding for connection and me responding to it, and me bidding for connection and she responding to it. And those are the micro behaviors that really connect us. So bidding for connection. This is the first micro behavior. The second micro behavior is appreciation. Appreciation. And you can use appreciation anywhere and everywhere. And you don't have to say, you have done a great job. No, it can be as subtle as, "Thank God you saw the milk boiling and you put it off. Thank God you remembered to buy the umbrellas for this monsoon season. Thank you for doing this." That's appreciation. You're appreciating your wife. And even in the worst case possible, let's say you're meeting her in the police station. Can you appreciate your wife for something? Of course, yes. Now, these are the tiny behaviors that can bring back love. You're meeting her at the court. Can you appreciate your wife? Appreciate your wife in front of the judge? Of course, yes. And anybody who appreciates his wife in these difficult situations, what is he trying to communicate? What are the other people are going to pick up? They're going to pick up the sense that you are an amazing person. Obviously, they will go through that process of doubting, resisting, noticing. All that is going to happen, but they're going to pick up that there's a shift in you. So appreciation, and connected with appreciation is gratitude. I want you to remember uh, an important lesson that I learned, and I tried to implement it in my life. And the lesson is this: there is no free lunch. There's no free lunch. Everything either is a blessing or we pay for it. So when your wife cooks for you, say thank you. Your wife doesn't shout when she's stressed out, when she's angry, say thank you. And thank you is so powerful that even your wife starts saying that. All these behaviors, all these micro behaviors I'm talking about are very contagious. They're so contagious that even your 4-year-old kid will start following them. That's what the men in our community say, that, my child has started appreciating me. And how old is the child? The child is 4 years old. We tell the child, say thank you, and we don't say thank you, but we want the child to say it. And here the child is saying it spontaneously, and a 4-year-old child. How is that possible? It's possible because we have something called mirror neurons. We, we imitate the other person. So it becomes very contagious when you start saying thank you, and it changes the mood of the house. Initially, it feels little awkward because somewhere along the way we are taught that there's no thank you and sorry in a friendship. Worst advice you can ever give, because sorry and thank you are the only things that keep a friendship alive. So initially it might feel awkward, but with the time your wife will get used to it. So appreciate gratitude. The next one is apology. There's something important about apology that I want to share. That is two things, in fact. The first thing is, you're not saying sorry because you're wrong. That's not the reason why you're saying sorry. The reason why you're saying sorry is because your wife is hurt by your action. 99.9% of the time, both of us are correct. That's what men in our community learn when they go through a particular course called conflict to connection. They realize through an example, through an exercise, that all of us are correct 99.9% of the time. And because we are correct, we feel that why should I say sorry? So the reason I say sorry to my wife is not because I'm wrong, it's because whatever I did hurt my wife. Give you an example. I reached late. You're waiting to go somewhere and I reached late. Did I do it purposely? Of course not. So should I say sorry to my wife? Of course, yes. Why? Because me reaching late and me not informing her would have made her feel that she doesn't matter to me. And for that reason, I say sorry. This is the first thing. The second thing is, don't say sorry lightly. What do I mean? When you're saying sorry, one of the biggest thing, there is a video that you can look for. Just look for Coach Val and why does my wife hate to hear me saying sorry, something like that. Look for that video and watch it, where I talk about why our wife hates to hear the word sorry from us. The reason is we are saying sorry to stop a fight, stop an argument. So the sorry becomes useless. So when you're saying sorry, don't say sorry to stop a fight. Say sorry because you are genuinely understand the hurt your wife is feeling. So the next thing is sorry or apology. The fifth behavior is listen and listen. Initially, at the first, if you're going through a separation, if you're going through a difficult phase in your marriage, your wife wants to share her hurts, and those hurts come in the disguise of criticism. So your wife will tell you, you're doing this, you did this, you'd never change, you're the horrible person. But I don't want you to listen to those words. I want you to listen to the feeling. The feeling is, I felt left out. I felt ignored. I felt unimportant. I felt rejected in this marriage. That's what she's trying to say. So listen, listen, listen. And when you listen, what happens is it calms her down. And when she's calmed down, probably you can share your thoughts and feelings. So listening and sharing. But spend enough time in listening so that she's willing to listen. Remember what I told you, mirror neurons. When I listen, my wife is willing to listen. It might not happen this time. It might not happen next time. It might happen after 10 times when I was listening to her, after listening to her for 10 times. So listen. The next thing is request. This is one of the most powerful behaviors that really bring us closer. Why request? Because request makes us feel that we matter to the other person. So it is as simple as me telling her, love, can you please look for my handkerchief? I can't find it. That is different from you saying, where is my handkerchief? Where do you keep it? Why do you don't keep it in one place? Everything I'm requesting her, because I consider as somebody a very important individual, and her time matters, her energy matters, and I have no right to order her. Now, your wife would be ordering things because that's been a culture in your marriage. And the only way to change that culture in your marriage is by changing the way you do things. And the beauty of it, as I explained earlier, that when you start requesting, with time, your wife also starts requesting. Both of you start ordering each other. And when we are in requesting, as I said earlier, you start feeling that you matter. When you start requesting her, she starts feeling that she matters, and that's what brings us closer. And the last behavior sounds very, very out of the box. That is asking for permission. Asking permission. So, what is this? This is something interesting. Asking permission. It means that I'm planning to buy something. I'm going to ask my wife, is it okay if I buy it? I'm planning to invest in my business. And I tell her about this is what I'm planning to do. What do you think? Now you might ask me like, what's wrong? Does it mean that I have to be Joruka Gulam because I have to ask her permission for everything? No. Now this particular behavior really brings you closer. That is asking permission. It means that when you're asking your wife, what do you think about it? What are you making her feel? You're making her feel that she matters to you. You don't ask everybody whether you should buy a new phone or not. But when you ask her, it feels that she matters to you. And then you have a conversation, and that really brings you closer. And when then she will start asking you, should I go out? Should I do this? Should I do that? And what does that make you feel? It makes you feel that you matter to her. And whenever we feel that the other person considers us as important, we start coming closer to that person. Now, the next question is, suppose in my business, my wife doesn't know anything about it. She doesn't understand anything that I'm doing because it's very technical. Why should I ask her permission? It's not about she understanding. The fact that you share what's happening in your workplace and then you ask her every time, do you get bored with what I'm sharing? Is it okay if I share this with you? What do you think from your best experience? When you're doing that, you're actually making your wife feel that she's important. There are times she might tell you that, I don't ask me these questions. It doesn't make sense to me. Don't ask me. And at those times, you can tell her that the reason I'm asking you is because you have this particular way of looking at things. You are good at this particular situation. You have handled this situation. Your wife would have a certain kind of experiences and perspective that is required for you to make a decision. So sharing information with your wife and asking her permission, not as a henpecked husband, but as an empowered husband. And when you ask her as an empowered husband with the hero's mindset, she's also going to ask you, and then that very act of yours will bring you closer. So that's all for this video. So I want to go back and just to sum up, and then I'm going to ask you, what is the one behavior, micro behavior that you're going to implement? So the first micro behavior is bidding for connection. The second one is appreciation, gratitude. Fourth one is apology, listening, requesting, and asking for permission. So out of these seven, which is one of the most important micro behavior you're going to implement? Write that in the comment section. If you have liked this video so far, please give it a like. And if you are not part of this, if you have not subscribed, please go ahead, subscribe. And if you have not pressed the bell icon, please do that right now. And if there is somebody who you feel is going through a similar challenge, who is going through a very difficult phase, then I invite you to share the link to the masterclass and ask that person to join the masterclass and learn relationship science. The link is, you have to go to Coach Val, that is COACH, Val, VAL.co. I've left the link in the description as well as in the comments. So thank you so much. Please write it in the comments. What's the one behavior that you're going to implement? And I'll see you in the next video with a new topic. And until then, as always, keep your love story alive. Bye-bye.